Cool.
Brilliant, thank you. Well, folks, welcome to another Future Work in Scotland, our second session of September. Good to see you all, delighted to be back. If this is your first time, very warm welcome to you. If you've been before, warm welcome back. Just the usual formalities. We do have a code of conduct, as most of you are familiar with that. All we ask in short is that you be respectful to one another. I want everybody to have a great evening, or morning, or afternoon, wherever you happen to be. And in terms of the usual Q&A format, do please stick your questions into the chat, and we'll relay them back to Pierre over the course of the evening. He doesn't have any slides, so I'll wait for him to take a pause and catch his breath, and hopefully you'll have some questions for me to ask him. We will do the usual community shout-outs at the end. Got a few things to mention today, so look forward to that. And that's that. So with that, I am delighted to welcome the one and only Pierre to Future Work this evening. He has been on the other side before, so he's familiar with what we do here. He's an established and experienced Agile coach, well known in the industry. He's been doing this stuff for a long time, supporting organizations with Agile transformations and going on their journey, and he has very strong and entertaining views on the subject. He's also got a meetup of his own, and we're obviously gathered here tonight to hear about his latest book, The New Normal. So really excited to hear about some of the themes of that. Over to you, my friend. The floor is yours.
Thank you, sir. This is, to be so I'm feeling not really comfortable. So I love to be the clown. I'm considering myself an Agile coach as King's Fool. You know, the crazy guy giving just the truth to the king. And I'm thank you so much to losing your time with me this evening. I'm very happy, very glad. So I was thinking, how should I bring the format? And they say, I cannot make a traditional format. I will do the format I prefer, having a conversation. So having conversation means you can open your videos, maybe you're recording, you can open your mics, and you're free to have a conversation. And good for me that you came after my chat with the code of conduct, because usually I don't have code of conduct. And yes, and sometimes saying the truth. So I'm very sorry, because I'm French German, which is a bad introduction. But usually say, oh, Pierre is a full Pierre. My full name is Pierre NEIS, and I'm living now in Heidelberg since 4 years. Before that, I lived between Luxembourg and London, and I did good things and weird things. So weird things is I was part of the benchmark to create certification like called PMI ACP. So then I left, and now I'm back also with PMI, working a little bit with Scott Endler. But I was curious to test the idea. So my book is a little bit more complicated in the title. So the title is The New Normal, Concepts and Patterns, AO, Concept and Patterns of 21st Century Agile Organization. AO is the brand, like Agile organization. It's a brand, the idea. I can't say it's not really a methodology. It's not really, I can't say framework at all. It's a set of tools to help Agile coaches or even leaders of companies to understand what is happening to them in the new normal, meanings of the future of work. So we have a couple of years. The new normal is what's happening after COVID-19. We have to rethink the way we are working, and that's the what. AO is the brand, and it's just about concept and patterns, meaning emerging patterns is about experience. So all my life I did things the wrong way. So I started my career after my studies in military at sea level. I had my company. Then I worked in the industry as product manager. Even though I had the background in IT, but as a student. So so if you want to know how old I am, as a student, I was a multiplan trainer. For those who remember multiplan, which is long way ago, it's like the Excel of the prehistorical Excel. And yes, I work on this, but I was fascinated, and I was meeting as a student, coding in ASCII, in Hexa, in Turbo Pascal, all this weird stuff. I say, this sucks, right? That's not my thing. But I used to work with IT people, engineers. But I moved but the most of my career was in the finance industry. And even as portfolio manager in the venture capital. So I was the guy making a lovely job about opening and closing plants. So say, oh, you're fired, all your 500, go home, now it's closing. It's weird, it's terrific. But it's a crazy experience because I used to use lean techniques. So I started having a background of 10 years of lean coach before jumping into Agile. It was close to 15 years ago now. And jumping into Agile, this was fascinating, and mostly like everybody saying, oh, now I'm happy, I have a word on what I'm doing, maybe on what I'm believing. But I work with this consulting company in IT, say, yes, but that's not for you, that's for us engineers. And you have just a product now. Yeah, but that's the voice of the customer. We don't care. I say, here is something bizarre. Because I used to come from system thinking and say, oh, that's wrong. I say, oh, can you give me some training about to be product owner? So I negotiate 2 years to get my first certification in 2008 on CSPO with Roman Pichler. I chose Roman because I say, hey, this guy has vision. And I started to be the crazy guy because I say, Agile has nothing to do with IT. If you take a look, just a question to the audience here. I guess you know the Agile Manifesto. Can you give me the 3 sentences where it's mentioned about engineering?
You want it in the chat or?
No, free, open your mic and say this. Because if you have the silence means I have no clue.
Only in the principles, right? So it talks about developers and business people working together to.
Okay.
And the working software.
Yes. Okay. Very well.
That's 2.
Yeah. Okay.
Some of it is assumed, like simple design. It assumes that engineers are doing the design. You're not letting the wrong people.
Is that really explicit, or you're assuming?
Yeah, it's a lot of assumptions in there. Nothing is explicitly stated, right? Yeah. It's a manifesto after all. It's not meant to be more than that.
That's a good excuse. So like religion, we are practicing religion just Sunday when I'm going to church with the whole week. We don't practice what we believe in. Come on. And another good question for you about what is the first principle of the Agile Manifesto?
Ship. It's working software.
It's satisfying customers.
Okay. Barbara?
Over.
Oh, you can read it. I'm sure you will make it wrong.
Yeah.
We undercurring better ways of doing things.
Yes.
And then you have people and interactions. So we are undercurring better way of doing things means it's continuous improvement. So we are okay. In the title, so if you take a look deeply on the manifesto, which is, I really like it. It's a very good tool, great tool. It's like the game Lego Scrum. When you make the Lego Scrum, people are just doing Legos. Say, hello, this has nothing to do with Legos, it has to do with Scrum and not with Lego Scrum. So people are doing the wrong thing. So you have the manifesto for Agile software development. So everyone believes it's about software development. It's more than this. So it's about individual interaction, is about systems of people. A system is, I have a team and I have to take care about how people are interacting together. So when I have, sorry for my friends, when you do personal agility and you ask people, or do you have the agile mindset? Or do you play the agile culture? Say, I did this. So I'm here in Heidelberg, so because I worked 4 years for SAP, the headquarters is just here nearby. And I say, oh, you have to be agile. I say, Sunita, you have to be agile. You say, okay, thank you, sir. I'm Indian. So I'm Indian until 9 a.m. in the morning. Then I'm agile the whole day. And then when I'm going back home, I'm Indian again. And then I say, and be yourself. I say, that's schizophrenic. That's weird. So I cannot ask to be A and then you're B and then you have to be AB or whatever. So I don't believe that Agile is a culture. I don't believe that Agile is a methodology. I don't believe there's something else. But this was my inner feeling, because I work with good friends in the Middle East and Asia, and there is different feelings. So I start asking one question is, and what kind of Agile is your Agile? Which is a clean question. The last time we met, I was here, it was about presenting this, what kind of Agile is your Agile? So I asked the question to everyone, and asked the question also to Agile coaches and well-known people. And I was quite confused when you have well-known people don't asking the question, and big Agile coaches say, oh, Agile is what is described in the Agile Manifesto. I say, And then when you meet people, you say, oh, I'm Agile, and you see in their eyes there is a lot of hope. And it's not about Agile Manifesto. Say, it's about being creative. I'm a voice. I can raise up my voice in the company without being blamed. So it's all about behavior. So I started to investigate this. It was 10 years ago, about a project called Scale, which is an HR project. And because in the Agile community, I was in a community in Germany, we were thinking about, and what is our role as a coach or as a Scrum Master? Are we doing engineering? Not at all. A Scrum Master doesn't make engineering at all. A Scrum Master can have no clue at all about engineering. It's not his job. And we say, but what are we doing, in fact? You say, we are doing HR activities. So who came with the idea is Agile coaching or Scrum Master, nothing more than operational HR. And so we raised off something called Agile for HR and to ask the question. And it was not a way of categorizing things. It was more likely the way of, we knew there is something bigger behind. There is a cultural shift of working, which is more sensible to our natural way of working, like collaboration or like we have here. And how can we go there to have the most of the people, the best part of the people? And if I do over 10 years ago, we are running Scrum projects. And when the IT project was done, we came back to waterfall or whatever. We stopped doing Agile. You say, what a waste of investment. So, and another way, in SAP project was terrible. Our code making system is the same thing. So you had at the beginning, you have this inception part when you do whatever you do. And you say, and then you have the development part, the milestone, the big block in the program. You say, oh, and that development part is the Agile way of doing things. And then you have these big teams in development, and you have the feedback of, oh, Pierre, now you can go home because the next month we are going in the testing phase and we don't need Agile any longer. I say, sorry, that phase you have to have Agile because this will be bombing in every corner. And you have to have the support, and it was true. And you couldn't find anything in the documentations. We came a lot with ideas, And I was thinking, are we right? Are we wrong? Because I was questioning myself. I say, I do it a lot. So I did it the wrong way. So I tested what I call now AO since 10 years. And I tested for small teams to 5,000 people in finance, global distributed. And it works. It worked in a way of people just about the idea of changing the routine of work. And it's very linked what you do in the future of work, meaning we are working in a complex world. So now my question to the audience, to everyone, give me your best guess about what means complexity of work. No, Boris, you will be wrong.
Humans bring complexity to the work.
In what way?
By being who they are. Opinion.
Obedient.
I mean, because of the opinion they bring to the table. We are assumptions driven rather than validation driven.
Okay, well. Another guess? Come on, so that's your big time.
The outcome is unknown.
What?
Yeah.
The desired outcome is unknown.
Yeah, what else?
Where there's lots of uncertainty, lots of moving factors, lots of unknowns, even in what you're hoping to build, not just in what you want, but in what exists that you're building on.
Good. Other guesses?
Yeah, so the manifestation of whatever you're dealing with is inherently not predictable. The underlying things might be quite simple, but what comes out of it is complex, and you can only, as per definition, I think, you can only in hindsight say, okay, yeah, this is how it led up to a certain point. And humans, obviously, are complex, because of the way we're structured. Putting multiple humans together makes, is a multitude of that.
Yeah. So I will give you here my definition, and feel free to challenge it and say that's crap or bullshit. I will be happy having this. That's my German part. Come on, challenge me. And the idea is, Dave Snowden came up with a couple of very good tools. Kinefin is a very good tool. And I was very impressed that people do not understand Kinefin at all. They see like a very static way of thinking, which is dynamic. And one point has been misguiding, didn't address at all, but that you're addressing in the training I got from Dave, is about linking the dots, is the relationship between management and not management, and not an operation first line of people. When you have this, the complex way of thinking means complex, the behavior of your system. If the behavior of your system is complex, you don't even need management. Because management is something else. Even chaos, you need chaos because you can't have. So you have left side when you have complex. So if you see, if I guess you all know a little bit about Kevin. So you have this matrix, complex, complicated, simple, obvious, and chaos. And there are two sides. So complicated and simple are more like what we call structured approach, and chaos and complex unstructured, or look like unstructured. And from this idea, I was following big leaders, so big thinkers from Germany, and all system thinking, and people like Kruse and Nietzsche. They explain complexity a little bit differently. Complexity is the result of a connected world. A world that you cannot control from information or knowledge, because knowledge is made accessible to everyone through internet. And when you let people give the people freedom of doing things, it sounds a bit weird, but it's the way that it can be responsive to any threat of opportunities of the markets. So you have this stage that Kinefin explained, this co-creation, whatever. And another result of this is, and here again, Dave Snowden explained this is the sense-making area. So small explanation. At the beginning, in factory, when you have the demand, which is bigger than the offer, so we create Fordism or maybe Taylorism is scientific management. So top down, So you have people are thinking about designing the work, and you hand over for execution for very low wages workforce. And this, you're building production. And since Ford has applied this, it was great for the 40 in black. But once the 40 has to be in white and red, this model didn't work any longer. So you have to think again differently. And you have about mass customization. The mass customization is the response was system thinking. The system thinking is Toyota model, lean, Kaizen. But it's always linear. It's always the paradigm about patterns precedes data. And we had a shift through the internet, because in system thinking, it was the control, function control. It's about my role as a function, I control the system. System thinking is information control. You don't have variability in a system, and reduce the variability, and you control the system to be as much linear as possible. The other way around, internet, you made the function control obsolete, and you were not able to control the information. So how can I work with people, connected people? And another way is we discover in the previous models, when you have patterns precedes data, the boss had the whole knowledge. The new model is data precedes framework. And here the knowledge is more in the front line, and the boss has no longer the whole knowledge. And this is the big shift, the big challenge. And Agile is one of the response. It's a way to respond to complex system theory, where the leadership is no longer a traditional paternalistic leadership. Is I'm the authority, I'm paying you for what you're doing. You say thank you, but you're just paying for my time and my knowledge that you don't have. So you're in a balance. And here Crusoe come up with a great idea. Say the big challenge, the future of work is based on complex systems, because that's the natural way of it. Maybe something is coming after it, but we don't know. And it's right to say we don't know what we haven't, but we try to figure out these ideas, we create options until one option is working. And the challenge, you're creating opportunities in the complex system world, but the problem is you cannot control it, because once you control that complex system, you pull the system and complicate it. It's no longer complex. So our challenge in Agile World is how can I keep the state of complexity as long as possible to create the most data possible so we can see emerging patterns and opportunities. Challenge of leaders is you cannot lead again like traditional, because you say, oh, what is my job in that thing? I'm the boss, but they don't need me. Yes, but your job is giving guidance, is giving the strategy, give them the direction, and let them choose the tactics to reach that direction. So that's the core concept about this. But your job as a leader, you have to learn to resonate with that system. So that's the big challenge we're facing in nature work. So I came with an idea. I said, okay, if I try to define what's a leader, I can come with an idea, blah, 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 blah. This will be a method. Does it change? It works maybe in Germany. I'm sure it don't work in Scotland, doesn't work in India, because you have a huge influence about the people, their own culture and your habits, and maybe from your tribe, your village or whatever. So we should have maybe concept guiding ideas to understand. So the idea was, I want to design a system allowing that agile behavior or that complex behavior as long as possible. And if you roll back about the very nature of Scrum has been designed for organization development and has brought into the software industry just because of marketing. There is no market for organization development at that moment in time. And Scrum is simple rules. And you have a very best example in UK about system thinking is the Magic Roundabout in Swindon. Who knows why? Do you know Magic Roundabout in Swindon?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah? No, you don't. Well, can I share my screen? I will share. I will go on YouTube. I will share with you.
Do that, yeah.
So we can just hold on. I'm just looking for YouTube because this is something I explain in my trainings, and we're debriefing about this, having conversation. And hold on. Take a while. Magic Roundabout Swindon. Okay, I'm here. I'm sharing my screen. Where is it? Here. And this one. This is very short, 1 minute 40.
I'm in Swindon. It is not the most picturesque city in Britain, but what it does have is this, the Magic Roundabout. And yes, Britons, you will probably already know about this, but Americans, I'm guessing you're going to find that a little bit scary. 5 miniature roundabouts around one central roundabout that goes the wrong way. Now, if you want to look into the history of this and how it came to be, then the Central British Road Database has a good run through the history of how the Road Research Laboratory came to make it. But what I want to talk about is the idea of emergent behaviour. Because most of these drivers have no special rules for going across this. They're not working out a plan in advance. They're following simple rules. Avoid collisions, follow the lines, give way to people already on the roundabout, and point towards your destination. Like birds, a few very simple rules can create a really complicated flocking behaviour, even if each of those individuals doesn't know what's going on. If you want to know more about that, have a look into Boyd's, made by Craig Reynolds, starting in 1986. Complicated flocking behaviour generated in a computer from very simple rules. Follow those rules here, and you'll pretty much safely get where you're going. You don't need to plan in advance, you don't need advanced driving skills or to have done it hundreds of times before. You just need to follow simple rules the same way that flocking birds do. Emergent behaviour means that this very odd roundabout here hardly ever backs up, even at rush hour. It's a triumph of road design, although there will probably never be any built like it again. The Magic Roundabout, here in picturesque Swindon.
Okay, any comments, guys?
It has not worked effectively in rush hour. It has also created long lines and changing behaviors. Though this is a potential response to a complex problem, it introduces its own new problems. And the roundabout doesn't evolve. Once it's a fixed structure, so it doesn't change itself to change the rules of the roundabout after it is put in place. So I've read a lot of reports about causing problems as well post release of the roundabout.
Okay, so you know that the urban design also in New York is using flocking behavior to avoid traffic jams. And maybe it is a better idea, I don't know. But the idea is, and now I can open with you some slides just to, and then, because the core of, I do believe, let's say my phases is that when we are speaking about flocking behavior, we're speaking about agile organization, we are thinking about having a natural behavior, having to see what happened, collecting data is mean, okay, let's start an idea. So when you make a game, I have a game, it's called 59-minute Scrum in my Scrum Master training and coaches. And I just give a list of features, or maybe I have a backlog of things to deliver in an hour. I say, up to you, every 15 minutes we have a sprint, let's do it. I'm coming back 15 minutes later, it's a mess. Nobody is able to self-organize, everybody is lost. And what do you want to roll? Everyone is starting over to analyze things. The idea is start moving. And so we have a big issue with, actually, is we are lacking self-managing people. And we want to reduce their way of thinking. And so we have to create other things. And the thing is, if I want to give guidance, leading people in a certain way, maybe we can be inspired by the flocking behavior. So I come here with a swarming idea. Okay, blah, blah, blah. I can give you the link afterwards if you're interested. I always use this. Maybe it's weird, but let's say it's almost better. Think about if you have this same traffic jam with that density of traffic, of cars in a traditional roundabout, or with just traffic lights. it is weird, it doesn't work. So command and control or scientific management is unlike traffic lights, and system thinking is just like a roundabout. So the idea how I can improve system thinking, you have more data in my system, I create this magic roundabout. Or maybe you can have evolving system. And then you have also cultural aspects. So if you want to create something look like cows, like traffic, let's say traffic in Delhi or in Vietnam, and you say from European side, you say, oh, this is weird, what, you don't know what it's doing, it's crowded, whatever, but there are hidden simple rules. You know, priority number one is a cow, and then is a lorry, because the lorry is bigger, and you have a bicycle, you have to let them know. It's natural way of doing things. So instead of forcing a system to behave differently, you have to understand the system, how it works, then start improving.
Can I ask? So
Yeah, sure.
In this particular case, I mean, it just occurs to me that if you tap this into culture or not.
Last year,
but
I was on a street corner in New York, having just eaten a slice of pizza. I looked at all the cars streaming south.
No, hold on. I have to close this. It's weird. Yeah, sorry. I'm here.
It's okay. No worries. No, it occurs to me that people are respectful to the other entities that participate on the roundabout or particular case, and it's only when that happens that systems like this work. And once there are a few actors that misbehave, everything starts to cripple down.
Sure, but it's always the same thing. Is we always design a thing and we think this is the ultimate one. It's never the ultimate one. Maybe we found something else. I use this as an example. But here again, if I want to extend the idea, if I say here, so let's say, maybe not using India because I don't know India, but let's say Indonesia or maybe Vietnam, you see you have huge traffic, but the car is running slow. But if you come on German autobahns, they're straight, they're designed to run fast. Mm-hmm. And if you come with a traffic in a way of driving in Indonesia or maybe India and Germany, you will create a revolution, because we want to have linear things, a very flat, so you can drive very fast. So I have Indian friends coming and say, I'm happy to coming back in Germany because I can drive fast on the highway, because in our country, we have not that much highways. And even though you can't drive fast, because maybe you have to take care about animals coming from right away, but you know the context. And in German autobahns, you know, it's very system design, it's protecting them from having animals. It's designed for running fast. But even though, if you have, now we have a lot of work on the highways, they are rebuilding bridges or whatever. So you have a lot of traffic jam on highways, so you can't drive that fast. So it's based on the design of the system. Autobahns are designed to run fast. And maybe you have a design in Indonesia just to move from one place to another. Because based on the rhythm of the life, we are more hectic in Germany, which is a little bit less hectic. The time and space a little bit have a different concept in other countries, which is for me completely all right. But so we have to design. But here, I used it as inspiration, and also because of this weirdness. When you show the magic roundabout, everybody say, "What the heck is happening here?" But the good idea is flocking behavior. Hold on. Oh, I hate this automation. So we are thinking about coherence again. Coherence is, I use this. Coherence, if you don't know where you go, don't expect having a system. The system is where we are here. So when you create a project, you don't know where, so are we just doing a project and you're agile? People say, yay, we're agile, but you don't know where to go. And maybe you're just a fluffy vision about, oh, let's do something and this will be cool. And people say, yes, okay, but you're not engaged at all. So if designing a system is allowing engagement, and I was horrified when I was analyzing the Gallup report of engagement at work, the two last. And I say, I always believe, oh, we are agile. We are really touching about engagement at work. We're bringing space to everyone to express their own creativity. to unleash the creativity. So your people are exciting to come and work. It's so exciting because we are very good and we are agile. And we are seeking, so that the level of engagement at work didn't increase, it dropped. Meaning the maximum of engagement at work was the US with 30% of people engaged at work, meaning 70% of people are disengaged at work, meaning they're on a survival mode, I'm just doing my job. They don't ask for engagement, you're just coming to get the money, right? But you need to create a comfort zone, where you can call it maybe a psychology safety or safe to feel container, whatever. So people can come and express themselves, but we still don't do it. We're telling about it, but we don't do it. And if I take Germany, we have 14% of people engaged at work. That's crazy. If I take France, 7% of people are engaged at work. It's like you have an exam every year. You just have 7% of people getting the exam, and nobody's looking at the exam. Is that the right exam or what is happening in the system? And you just continuously doing this as a stubborn, oh, this is how we do, we don't change. It's all wrong. So the idea is, how can I bring something else? To get engagement, I'm on a mission to reach maybe before my death, potentially in over 30 years. I have 30 years left. So this is my burn-on chart. And so if I can reach 20%, I will be absolutely happy. So my purpose is, how can I design an organization allowing people get engaged? And maybe I will use the argument of Agile to get people engaged. And having people engaged at work, maybe I will use the full potential of human being available here on the planet to detect any threats or opportunity to be responsive. And I have to listen to them. So maybe a 5-year-old child in my system may be helpful because they understand the thing another way. So I have to be curious and embracing things. So I have to design this to get rid of an old paternalistic thing that you have to listen to daddy, and you're in parent-child relationship, and you're deeply in the adult relationship. So that's coherence. So where are we going? Are we going to implement a methodology that's just, bloody stupid? And when you make an Agile transformation, what is the problem that you try to solve? Agile is a topic for Agile coaches and Scrum Masters, that's all. It's not a topic for our customer. We want to be, maybe we have Zurich and Geneva, which are not aligned because we have a German culture, a French culture, and we don't understand each other. That's a real point, that's a real problem. Or this huge bank, we want to be Agile and in a digitalization program. What do you think about digitalization? And what is the real problem? The problem is maybe something different. And maybe you can use Agile techniques or design Agile things to reach that problem. But Agile transformation is not the topic at all. But it's the actual state of the situation. Any questions?
I did have one in the chat, Pierre.
I don't read the chat. I don't give.
No. I'm going to do that for you. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, just looking.
I have to step back a little bit. It was to do with system thinking.
Yeah.
I saw it flash. It's from Ray. So I don't know what the context was. So you're welcome to chip in, Ray, if you want. I think you were asking about system thinking and it being about non-linearity. I don't know what the context was, so feel free to expand on that.
Yeah, there was a comment, something, I don't know. Yeah, I have to replay it. But that systems thinking came out of the idea that something along those lines, that it was for linear thinking. Isn't the whole point of systems thinking like that you get to an understanding of the complexity of the situation, and that not everything moves in a linear fashion as what our simplest models in our heads can kind of translate to.
Then you have the big bunch. I got you. That's the big bunch of system thinking. Now it's more specific. So you have system thinking and complex system thinking.
Okay.
So you can maybe put the big system combining complex and traditional system thinking.
Okay.
But if you take, let's say, more lean, the lean, which is a deviation of the Kaizen, an American deviation of Kaizen, and it was about you design a system and you have to keep the system in place, And then you have Six Sigma. Six Sigma came to analyze the variation that's in the system in a way that you have to reduce completely. Waste means a variation is waste.
Yeah.
That's called, if you are in a factory model. A factory model comes after the research and development. So we have product life cycle completely different. So you have this curve. When you have research and development, then you reach the maturity, and in maturity, then you have the production line, and you produce and you make the cash, and you don't want to have the variability in the system. The problem is that in the new market and the new world and the new normal, and you have that maturity level is getting shorter. 30 years ago, you have this maturity of 30 years. So my cash machine is running for 30 years. So I can be here as a process manager ensuring that my cash, my factory, my line, production line is still working. But now when you go in Agile and software, you have a life cycle of 3 months in digital. So after 3 months, it's obsolete, right? So the challenge is, how can I make cash in the research and development phase? But when we reach maturity, we are in support activities. And usually you're losing money in support activities. So from a business model, you have a huge challenge too. So how can I change my business model to be, to create a cash cow since research and development? So that we create MVPs to be rapidly on the market. Then you add on, so all the add-ons. But sometimes you go in the teams, actually, they're still in the other model. So, we are doing this, and say, what is your velocity? Oh, your velocity is sinking. Oh, give them more training. You say, no, let's take a look about what activities are you working on. And then you discover that you have a single team making build and run and supporting 7 versions and creating the new versions. Then you see, and how much time do you spend in create the innovation? 10%. And the rest are supporting the versions, because this is where we do things. Where is my product? What is your strategy? Do you want to keep all the versions, or maybe withdraw and kill all the version which nobody's using, because this give more free time to the people to deliver new value. So what is happening most in the companies, actually, it's not about agile techniques. We don't have, there is no product development strategy and no architecture strategy, because nobody say, stop supporting these old versions. How much is Microsoft supporting XP? No. Why do you? Because I'm making money with the support activity. So the cash cow for SAP is support. It's not development of new stuff. And our challenge is to change it. And tomorrow you can come maybe as something, a big data or big cloud, which is data. And you have maybe your Puppet and Shelf or whatever, and you can see patterns and you can bring out solutions. And maybe you can create a competition for SAP on a very lightweight technology. Because the architecture and the solution are wrong. And what we're seeing here about emergence and this kind of behavior, this exists since over 15 years in the technology. Big data is based on that. It's about separation, alignment, cohesion. So like here, if you have an agile team, you have to separate from the hive. And the hive is the structure. The structure is my role in the power and the structure empowerment. And I say, this is my A, and then you have organization is something different. Has nothing to do with my role. And then you discover that you create value in the organization and not in the structure. Structure is, you have, I guess, Kimball Fisher wrote this, is the idea and the structure is me working on for my own sake, for my own career, to raise up to be director, maybe senior vice president, to finish CEO. But that's me, my own career. It doesn't bring any value for the company. It brings only value for your own. If you want to create business value or really value for your customer and your company, it's not in a structure, it's in a project or maybe in a program which is completely customer oriented. So my challenge was that the book is, how can I design a thing that works, bringing that idea? It's about separation from the hive, from the structure, get alignment. And you know from a natural behavior, from team behavior, when we say 5 to 7 members in a team, there is something else, more from the cognitive science behind, is because over 7 people, you can start hiding. Hiding from doing a work, and even though hiding for interacting. We know if you're over 10 people, for some people, the team is too big and you create unsafe, you create stress. Proximity creates security because it's a dynamic. And a coherent means we know why we are working together. And avoiding is here very simple, is all my teams are end-to-end. So thinking about, discussing about dependency should not be on the plate. If you have dependency, means your teams are not end-to-end. And these questions are still, so based on this, what can I do? So I have here it is, so I can come here. So I put a lot of pictures in the book. So this is my slide deck containing all the pictures. So this is how I just started. When I say we have structure, structure is, I designed the Titanic. The Titanic was the best in class, the best high quality, high technology, best, but you have to be strong and robust. And what happened when you have a black swan? They say, oh damn, in 3 kilometers we have an iceberg. Woo, we will all die. What a surprise having iceberg in that area of the Atlantic Ocean. It was quite arrogant. And the black swan, what is a black swan? COVID-19, coronavirus, working from home, create a panic, which is called a black swan. So Agile should be a way to respond to this. And what happened? People are panicking. You're moving into your reptilian brain and you say, oh, surviving, find people, cost cutting, whatever. And then stop moving. And then now we're in a situation where nothing is moving. Everyone is panicking. Maybe the situation is not that terrific, but people just try to apply old patterns to a new situation when you have no clue at all what it is. And having no clue at all what it is means we need to go in the chaos, meaning we have to give freedom to the people in your company, let them brainstorm, work, whatever, with one mission, come with options. Come with options to test, and maybe we will have an idea, because we don't know. And usually you always have the answer in your system. But you have to unleash that kind of creativity. So actually we're still on the iceberg. So for me, we're still on the Titanic. But the idea is, so that's my oops too late. But instead having a big ship, what we call an organization, a whale, we want to be bigger. So we grow by merge and acquisition. We want to be bigger, and you're bigger, and we're global bigger. But that's not the idea. We have to be swift, we have to be responsive. So an organization can be a collection of speedboats when your big ship is just virtual and your teams are just small swift boats. An example is here, which is one of the models called A Venture, which is one of the last part of the AO model when you have phases going from waterfall to a complete agile open organization. And here is every team is working like an internal startup. There are no cost centers, there are profit centers. And the governance model on the top, they're just managing a portfolio of activities like a private equity or like an investor. And I propose that model to people in finance. I say, it makes sense. It will be terrible to go there because we have to change our habits and we have to reduce the stress because this creates more fear because you're completely changing the model and people which are a little bit blocked in the old way of thinking. I say, yes, but this is maybe a goal for you, maybe in the next 10 years, maybe in 5 years. Now the time frame doesn't matter, right? But that's maybe the big picture, what to go. And then we have, I have here a senior vice president of finance say, And what will be my role here? So now let's assume you're on, oh, hello. Let's assume you're keeping your title, you're keeping your bonuses, you're keeping everything you have, and you have the options to change your job, doing something else. Do you want to keep your job or doing something else? Answer, I want to do something else. Okay, and now if you keep everything you have already, and I give you a budget to create the value for the company, like in create a venture for the company. Would you like to do this? And have this guy who's over 50 years old say, oh, I will be an entrepreneur then. Yeah, absolutely. That's the idea. I guess this is where we go. Now, how fast is it to roll? I don't think. But we have to bring, so my idea was, if you say, I want to go agile, I say, how far agile do you want to go? What is your way of doing agile? And this is how I built the model, because your organization can evolve, not only a small ball, but maybe you reshape, but based on the threads, or maybe about the challenges of your work, maybe you can reshape. And the problem is, who is reshaping? Reshaping is emergent. It's not top-down, it's a bottom-up activity. And in the book, I explain how to go there and what to do and how you can protect it. So on over here, and this is our story about, these are all the pictures you find in the book. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, here is, okay, the origins of Dave Snowden's graph. It's a very old Ryanair model, which is 1972. And that's the Dave Snowden's approach. Scientific management, control of function is command and control, system thinking, control of information, and sense-making ability to situate a network, agile. All present that nobody talking about. I'm offended. Okay, here, blah, 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 blah. Sorry, I'm going very fast because I want just to show you a couple of others. So for me, that's agile. That's Scrum. The Scrum start with simple. Simple is like Dan Pink's, what's the purpose? Why are we here? What's the invitation with, if Daniel Mezey can say, what's the purpose? Is if everybody knows where we are here, that's simple, should be obvious for everyone in the team. Then you let them, okay, that's the idea, we want to do this the next sprint, what are you thinking? And you put them in chaos. And chaos is everyone, a single person is thinking about his own idea. And then rapidly you pull them again and say, can you build on the top of each one's idea to come up with a solution? And then you keep them in complex, this dynamic, the whole sprint, right? Because it's coming up. And you let them that's why we have no sprint goal any longer. And it's going more in that direction. And when my sprint is ending with the sprint review, we're coming back in that situation and we're analyzing all the work. And even though as a team member, I will analyze the work from a technical perspective. And then you have here an acceptance, then you're analyzing how the way we worked in the retrospective. It is always almost uncomplicated. And then we create a second goal for the next sprint, which is again a new goal. We come back in simple and we running again. And that's part of an agile coaching class. Now you're in a sprint and you have an expert coming. What's happening? Question to the audience. That's your sprint. You know you're running. You maybe have 80% of the time in complex. Your team is sprinting, so they're on complex. An expert is coming to help. Let's say the expert is an agile coach, an outside agile coach coming with big wisdom. What is happening to the system? Come on. Don't be afraid. Sat, any idea?
Sorry, I was distracted facilitating. What was your question, Pierre? Sorry.
So again, let's say my team, I have a team is sprinting in the sprint. My sprint means the behavior of the sprint is completely complex. And to avoid any interference, my sprint is protected from the Scrum Master to maintain that complex behavior, because we know we will find out as a collective the solution.
Yep.
Now, in the week, we have an appointment with an expert. And the expert is coming with the team. What's happening?
Chaos.
What?
Chaos.
No, I think the opposite.
I thought you were asking me. I would have thought it moved from complex.
No, it's okay. So let's say it's evening, you're all tired. So if an expert is coming, the team is in a complex, the expert, because of his presence, will pull everyone in complicated. Because you're no longer building something together. The expert is watching you. Even if he's just watching you, what is happening? You stop behaving like as a free man, as completely free to experiment things. And you're pulling everything in complicated. Then you're reaching maybe the end of the sprint and say, oh, we didn't deliver what we expected. Or you say, oh, the results are weird. What's happening? Oh, it's because the expert came, but the expert is giving you the knowledge. You should respond. So maybe your team was stupid. The problem is, what?
Can I ask, is that your view as if you were in that team? Or is that a general thing for any team? Because I can imagine what your scenario to be true, right?
Yeah.
But I can also imagine a scenario whereby a team, whether or not we give the label maturity, but where a team is not so much bothered by an expert coach or whatever coming in telling them what to do, because they've already operated in a certain modus. They understand this game, right?
Mm.
So just being an observable is not gonna change their behavior.
Yeah, I got your point. Very, very good question. You have the observer syndrome. This is coming more for quantum physics. Quantum physics explain if you're observing a situation, the situation is just responding what your aims or give you a bad answer. And I just remember I do service design weekends as a participant. I love to experiment. And we had a lot of researchers just watching watching, describing, and recording of it. I was feeling weird. They say, go away. Let's go in another corner. I hate these guys. They say, if I had that situation, I'm sure somebody else has. Then I observed and say, it's true. So when you have an observer, you don't behave like this. So even though you have a big conversation as in agile coaching is, oh, in agile coaching, you have a posture, you're not part of the team. See, that's wrong. You have to be part of the team so you can disappear in the team. So you have to have the right answer so you can understand. So, and that's complicated to understand. Now coming back to the main idea. So when I have an expert is coming here, he pulled the whole system and complicated. So as a coach, a scrum master, I have to say the expert is done. I have to pull them to close. What have we already done in the sprint? Is that okay? So make a virtual retrospective, a virtual review. Say, okay, what are we doing for the next days until we reach? And you relaunch the activity. Now, based on Ray's comment, I use that model. I gave a lot to coaches from ICF. That it rang a bell for them. It was just my gut feeling at the beginning. I won't say that's the truth. I don't know. And I will be really happy that you demonstrate it's wrong, because I'm curious. And I make a trainer-trainer session. And I thought that was quite good. So I brought the people in simple. I was very sure, okay, we are doing this. Are you okay with this? Okay, how is your way of thinking? Now let's go, you 5-10 minutes, think about what you're doing and maybe how you can bring, or maybe draw me what you want or whatever. And I put them in complex, but so we have most of the guys working complex, but one guy was checking his emails. And having one guy checking his email, he wasn't aligned with the others. He stayed in chaos. This was weird. And then I came out with a check. Oh man, I was completely wrong. Let's just say, what is the situation now? So I pulled people in complicated, and I relaunched the system with taking care that my guy is no longer checking an email, but he worked with a team. One great exercise that you can find in the internet is Joe how to make toasts. Who knows this game? No?
Yeah, I know the game.
And how much time do we have left? The whole night?
We've got about 20. I'd say you've got about 20 minutes, Pierre.
Yeah, because it's 9 p.m. in my time, right?
Yeah, 15 minutes. So yeah, we finish at
Okay.
1:30.
So we don't take a look. If you take a look about draw how to make toast, you start as an individual. You have to draw on a paper how to make toasts as an individual. Then iteration number 2, you have to use sticky notes to draw how to make toast. And here you create nodes and links. And then you're going to, as a group, draw how to make toast as a group. Then you're using your own sticky notes to build on the top of each other idea as a big picture. So draw how to make toast on paper on a sticky note as an individual is a chaos situation. But the idea is to have the big picture, which is a complex. So you have to spend time in chaos to move in complex, and which is what I call the agile behavior. It's that way, it's as a team. If you jump into the team, just let's do it. You will have exactly what Ray say. You have the feeling that maybe they're on it, but they're not. And my trick is having that, let's say I make some 1 week design with SAP guys, 100 learning week, but designing the future of a big project. And I start on the Monday in the morning, I start the game, draw how to make toasts. Making this Monday morning expert was tough, but the idea was using that game to introduce the process of working. And in the afternoon, I give you the film and say, now draw how to make your process. And the fun thing, they use exactly the same process like in the game, draw how to make toast, but to design their business process. They say, yay. And you have that kind of interactions. And this is how I see Agile. For me, Agile is just this curve. It's not one particular situation. It's maybe, when you say, how much Agile do you want, is how much time do you want that the team behaves in the complex? And if you use this to watch an organization, you discover that management are mostly complicated, which you have a discussion of experts, and you need a project manager to gather all the information and to make a meeting, minutes of meetings that don't work, that don't build something together, they're analyzed from an expertise point of view. And you are project manager or as a PMO or assistant or whatever role you have, you're expecting that the outcome is simple. And then you need a validation of everyone. So then you have answers like, oh, Pierre, 99% was okay, but we can't do this with you. Say with 51, I'm okay. Means you cover your ass because the situation is mostly complicated. And when you work at this level, people are behavior like expert, which is not bad, right? It's not what I say here is not judgmental. It's the conversation on an expert level, and I believe everything they design is simple. And so I can have this activity to a low wage working force to deliver the activities I do. So that's the belief. It's very scientific management oriented. We have here a factory. We have a software factory. That's weird. That's linearity. The reality is, if management is in a complicated, be sure that the team is in chaos. And you ask the team in the front line, do you know where to work? I don't care. I'm just doing my job. I'm just waiting the email that my manager is giving my task. Or, and what are you doing? Are you passionate? I don't care. I'm 5, I'm over. Then I'm going making my sport and I'm going to the pub, meeting my friends. That's my life. Oops. So that's the level of engagement you can expect. Forget it. So it's like using a Ferrari to go shopping, buying cigarettes. That's all. That's just stupid. Use it to make formula, go on a circuit and drive like a crazy guy. Or maybe if you want just to buy a cigarette, just take a bicycle. And that's ineffective. Is consider people like a workforce is wrong. Is even though since 1990, since internet, it doesn't work. These are all paradigms. So the thing is, we have to move from a linear thinking to complex thinking. And to go there, and I want to move very rapid, so I have to move all my slides. If you want to find my slides, you have to buy the book. So I try to work, I think I can't make it, seriously. I'm not American, I can't do this. So you'll find a lot of things, but I just try to show you, so we have more, yeah?
Are the slides in the book in slide form, or they are integrated into the book?
It's integrated in the book.
Okay.
But if you buy the book, you can have access to my Google Photos when you can take all the pictures for free. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the best book ever. And to be honest, I was just proud that all my family was proud to having, oh, you're the first of the family having a book. That I was, Then the rest I always say, oh, that's fine, that's okay. Okay, here, come on. So here comes the idea. The idea is the triangle. Triangle is the structure, is the main paradigm of the organization is based on a structure. Is my job, is when I ask, what is your job? I'm a project management of this production line, means, oh. Or what are you doing? I'm a software developer. I'm working in Azure team and we are building this kind of thing. It's like this story with the three masons. You know the story with the three masons? One guy is moving in the forest. He met a mason who is sledging some stones. And what are we doing? Are just cutting stones over well. Then he fall down. So second guy, hey Mason, what are you doing? Cutting stone for building this big thing in the city called a cathedral. Okay, fine. And the third one he came and said, oh, what are you doing with the stone? I'm building a cathedral. He is engaged to a bigger thing about a big purpose. So in structure meanings, people are just doing their job. You're expecting just increasing your position in the society. Usually is that part when I lost a lot of people in Morocco, explaining that we don't need management any longer in Agile. They say, oh, I wanted to be a project manager so I can have the pride of the family, so I can be maybe a director in the future. Say, yeah, but this thing has changed. So anyways, so I see in structure here, we are doing agility. Agility is for me agile entertainment. Means we do a lot of agile things just to avoid change, to not change, so it's entertaining. Awaken is, oh, let's make a serious try, and we have to make projects. So project management here. And to be really, really honest, at the beginning, agility is for me chaotic. We don't know the situation. And when you go in Awaken means I set up waterfall. You bring discipline and structure. Means you need to get out. We need to have stable teams, maybe dedicated teams. Rubicon, we have to go more in a lean way. We reduce the variability. And then you're crossing the Rubicon. It was like Roman Empire. It was crossing the Rubicon, going into Rome. Is here you open everything to the Agile world. So it's narrowing down from a chaotic way of working, structure, lean, opening to Agile. And here is the way I say, do you want to have Agile very well? On this 5 stage, how far do you want to go? They say, I want to go to AO, which is completely open means minimalistic structure, minimalistic governance, self-managed people working in a Wolf model, result only workable entities. Means you have no control at all who is working. Here you need a huge level of maturity. But the idea was, I needed to explain how far can we go in Agile. It's like reaching the moon. Doesn't mean you have to go to the moon. Then we can create a conversation. What we call in coaching is design the alliance. Means, okay, you want to go in Agile, how far do you want to go? I suppose, because I don't know your situation, you're completely on the left, big corner structure way of thinking. So we have to unstructure your way of doing. So how far do we want? I want to have maybe 5-10 teams working quite goes on projects. Okay, let's test, awaken. And then we can go, maybe if you go in Rubicon, finance and say, our goal is in 5 years, a venture. And then you have a plan, we design a transformation plan, a change plan to reach that way. And we make it with the teams, with everyone, even with 5,000 people. Hey guys, this is where we want to go. This is where we want to reach. It is how it works. Are you okay with that? I never heard somebody say no, but it's about to explain. And even though means if you reach AO level, then you have the opportunity to create something new, which is better than Agile. The problem is we have Agile and we didn't explain, we didn't define what Agile is, what Agile means. And people say, what is coming after Agile? I say, I have no clue because I don't know. And we are all selling things. So I will stop here sharing because this is quite boring. So I came with very, very terrible questions to shake a little bit the thinking about the Agile community. I say, Agile is like the Yeti. Everybody is talking about it, nobody has seen it. Do you agree with that? Open your mics.
Open forum, folks. Feel free to share your thoughts. We've got about 5 minutes. It'd be great to hear everyone's reflections on a wider range of things that Pierre's covered tonight. It's been a great session. Lots of stuff covered. Exactly what I expected from you, Pierre. I think you're leaving everybody with lots to think about. That's for sure.
And to be honest, the book has the early name. It was called "How to Build a Pig Pen."
Say again.
How to build a pig pen.
Okay, yeah.
Because I have this Agile Animal Farm game, which is all based on behavior. When I was invited to give a keynote in Montreal, I said, "Yeah, Pierre, you can do this, but forget your pig pen thing." It was how I came to AO. Say, okay, it was interesting. Anyways.
Sorry.
Okay, go ahead, Chris.
Go on, Chris.
Yeah, I was just curious with these, you talk about these simple rules from a team perspective. Are you assuming these will be the simple rules as outlined in the Scrum Guide? Or are you suggesting that with an independent team, they may have other simple rules that maybe come from Kanban? We will have one piece of work in progress, and these are our simple rules, and have that degree of autonomy.
Yeah. So I'm giving Agile coaching a certification, which is more a training, and you get a certificate because you attended. Is for me saying thank you for attending. And in Agile, you just need two things. You need Scrum and Kanban. Because we are addressing nature of work, we have program, projects, and transactions. And simple roles, we have the same simple roles in Scrum and Kanban. You still have a product owner, you still have a development team, and you still have a Scrum Master, a coach coordinating that effort. 3 roles, nothing more. Mommy, daddy, and the kids. And if you have one more, it doesn't work. So that I was looking about, let's say, sociocracy, something like this, too much roles. Or maybe rules or complicated rules. And here, if you say we just need, for this management level, just 3 roles, you don't need more. Because in the team, maybe you need experts, we call floaters. Then maybe you have your subject matter expert, maybe you have, it's okay. But your mission is not, you deliver your expertise, that's okay. But your purpose is to feed the team with your knowledge. So when I have a solution architect or something like this, I say, guys, I will recommend you and I will help you that your mission is more to have like pair programming, 1 guy of the team. The idea is that you share your knowledge or just enough knowledge to the team members and maybe come 1 hour per week to coach them. Because usually they don't have the time, because when they are good, everyone wants them. Or they're usually at customer because it brings the money. But we need your knowledge. And this And again, it's always coming from flocking. We call it, you have sallies and gleaners. So and the gleaners are just feeding the teams, and these are guys, the purpose is to feed the teams. These generalist, specialist team members. And you have exactly the same thing now in new way of Kanban. But it's called process owner or whatever. But this Kanban is now, I remember the first war between David Anderson and Kay Schweber 15 years ago. It was funny. No, I am complex. No, fuck. It was fun, right? And you're just like on a tennis court watching, oh, 1 point here, oh, 15 here, oh. and now you have Scrum, you make 1 week sprints in Scrum, it looks like a Kanban. And you make a Kanban with a triage at the beginning of the week, which is more like a Scrum. But Kanban is deep nature is very systemic. It is absolutely helpful to reduce the amount of transactional work. And this is more described. Maybe I can't go here, but here the point is, I take usually a look about the whole company, small or big. Usually when it's smaller, it's faster. And I see how much work is transactional. So when you see in a company, most of the work is transactional, just doing the tasks. You have very, very few real projects. When people are dedicated, they left the hive to work as a flock or maybe like a swarm together. But the value is created in the swarm, our value in the project, not in the transactions. So usually you say, okay, let's reduce transactions, let's increase projects.
And there's a few more minutes. I thought it'd be nice to ask Eduardo's question. He's put it in the chat. Also because Eduardo's joining us for the first time this evening, Donald tells me, so yeah, warm welcome to him. So he's asking about whether there's any potential relation to sociocracy with the stuff you're talking about.
I try to make it simple, more simpler, and more simpler. It's more, you design the boundaries and you can use whatever methodology you want into it. Because I do believe a methodology is like a tool, it helps you to communicate better. So my tools are more Scrum, but maybe somebody else can say exactly the same thing with a complete other methodology. Maybe we are not delivering methodology. Methodology more linked to colonialism? So let's make the challenge. I'm a big company. I want to spread out. I designed a model which is called Agile, and now I have it. And now I have to work with India. So I can't impose the idea of India. I have to improve the whole system based of the new culture coming in. Is mixity, is diversity. So my company is no longer a British or a German one, it's now an Indian-German one. And all the tastes, we're making curries, right? So the tastes are changing. And so the bigger you become, the less rules you have to have. And if you have more and more rules, it's more like a prison. So we have to, how I can tight boundaries.
We're going to run out. It'd be lovely to obviously keep going, but unfortunately we do have a time box. I just had one sort of thought, and obviously everyone, you're welcome to continue the conversation, in our LinkedIn group or in the other channels that we're all using. It's a lot of good stuff got covered tonight. Pierre, you made a really good comment I liked about sort of reshaping is sort of emergent and not top down. And I think that is probably the big challenge with a lot of these sorts of transformations.
But it's not only top down. It's more like a crocodile. It's both top down. It's both top down and bottom up, which at the beginning is mostly bottom up, and then you have to align top down. And here you have the end of the book, the last chapter. I explain the 12 steps, the 12 baby steps to reach that. And you will see the first 8 are just on the team level. And then when the teams are working closely with the business, then you will have the first reaction from the management. But we are the managers, now you're not discussing with us, but we are the parents here. At this moment in time, when they come to have a reaction, at this moment in time, you have to start working with management.
Yeah, but I was thinking, no, I know what you mean. I was thinking more about when you were talking about reshaping as emergent, and I was thinking a lot of organizations, certainly senior managers, the emergent part is probably the challenge for them as well, because they don't have the patience, because they want to see things getting done and get things out to market. I think it's probably what a lot of us see and have seen in reality. I know I have. That's why I kind of like that bit, because you're right, it is that emergent thing that we're all trying to encourage and coach and teach. And, you know, a lot of organizations are hierarchical. Do you struggle with that?
Yeah, so yes, it's not easy. So we have here, I'm working also with requisite agility, which is the governance and the board. And we define, okay, what is the acceptable amount of agile in your company? It's just noticing a statement that, hey, it has to change. And when you start agile as a change, you say, oh, you want to go agile. How does it look in 1 year when you reach agile? Oh, this. Now I say, I have another question for you. What do you want to stop doing?
Yeah.
It's not putting agile on the top, it's also removing things.
Brilliant. I'm going to have to stop you there, unfortunately. As I say, it'd be lovely to keep going. We have a few minutes left. Listen, thanks for joining us this evening. It's
a pleasure.
Lovely to hear from you. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm sure everybody else did too. So I'm going to give you a little round of applause because I'm unmuted.
Thank you not to fall asleep. Thank you to not watching Netflix during that session. So, or maybe you're very polite. So very thank you.
No, I think it went down well, and I'm sure others who couldn't make it this evening will look forward to watching back the recording.
Yeah.
So thanks again for your time. Just a couple of quick shout outs, folks. Those of you probably joined some of the visualization sessions as well. Our friends at ScotViz, they've got their meetup tomorrow. If that's of interest to you, I'm sure some of you do join those. We already have our 2 sessions in for October, so I look forward to them. We've got Tobias Mayer joining us for the first session. So that's on the, I can't remember the date, I think it's the 5th. And then towards the tail end of the month, we've got a really exciting session on system thinking, which seems to be proving really popular. So yeah, if you do fancy those, look out for them. And we're busy working on the schedule for November. So we've got a couple of exciting sessions planned for you there. Just another quick side one. Some of you have probably seen sometimes we've been doing shout outs for sort of other things that we, people reach out to us and offer us training, etc., to share with our community. So our friends at Calba, who do sort of Edinburgh based, but they do sort of virtual training at the moment. They're offering our sort of community members 50% off, and they have an advanced Scrum Master training course coming up in early October. I'll post some details about that. That might be of interest to some of you. I'm conscious that a lot of you are probably Agile practitioners, so look out for that. And of course, just remember that there's also Agile Scotland early in October as well, 5th and the 6th. So some of you might be interested to take part in that. I think that's everything tonight. Thanks again for joining us. Really enjoyed it. Great to have you. Thanks for your participation. And we hope to see you again soon. Take care. Stay safe. All the best. Thanks, folks. Thank you.
So, my pleasure. So, I'm very thankful, and that's lovely.
See you, Pierre.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. See you soon.
So that's my French part. So you're happy.
There you go.